Have you ever been in a conversation where someone says something so strange, or maybe something goes wrong and you just freeze? You just nod your head because you don't have the right words to react naturally? It happens to the best of us, but the difference between a beginner and a fluent speaker isn't just knowing vocabulary, it's knowing exactly how to react to the unexpected. Today, I am going to give you 6 powerful expressions that will help you handle awkward moments, bad choices, and funny mistakes with total confidence. Hello and welcome. Today, we are going to master the art of the reaction. We are going to look at a scenario involving 2 coworkers, Lisa and Sam, who are having a coffee chat about a very long, frustrating week. But instead of just listening to them, I am going to break down exactly what they said and how they reacted to each other so you can use these idioms in your own life. You have probably searched for daily use English sentences or looked up tips for advanced English conversation. But the phrases I'm going to teach you today are the ones that actually bridge the gap between sounding like a textbook and sounding like a native. Let's dive into the first situation. Imagine you have a coworker. Let's call him John. Now, John pretends he doesn't know how to use a specific computer program. He sits in a meeting asking basic questions, acting completely confused. But you know for a fact that John actually trained you on that software years ago. He knows it inside out. When you see someone's words completely contradicting their reality, or when they are pretending to be something they are not, there is a perfect idiom for that. You say, "You could have fooled me." This is such a flexible phrase. In the case of John, it's a little bit sarcastic. You are saying, wow, he acted so clueless that if I didn't know better, I would have believed him. But be careful with your tone here. If you say it aggressively, it can sound rude. But you can also use this positively. For example, if a friend says, "I am terrified of public speaking," but then they get on stage and give an amazing, confident speech, you can smile and say, "Wow, you could have fooled me." In that context, it's a compliment. It means you were so good, I never would have guessed you were scared. It's all about the delivery.
Now, let's move to the second scenario. Lisa and Sam were talking about another colleague, Carla. Carla has a habit of playing very loud pop music from the early 2000s while eating her lunch. Now, to most people in an office, that might seem annoying or just weird. When you encounter someone who has a habit, a style, or a preference that you just cannot understand, maybe they dip their French fries in ice cream, or they wear socks with cartoon frogs on them for serious events, you don't want to be rude. You don't want to start a fight. So, what do you say? You say, "There's no accounting for taste." This is a polite, sophisticated way of saying, "I don't get why they like that, but hey, everyone is different." It allows you to disagree with someone's choice without attacking them personally. It's like a little verbal shrug. It acknowledges that people like different things, and that's okay. It's a great phrase to keep in your pocket when you want to end a conversation about a weird topic without being judgmental. Moving on to our third expression. This one is incredibly practical. We often make plans, travel plans, work plans, cooking plans, but life doesn't always go the way we want it to. Lisa was talking about organizing office events. It was getting too stressful for her, and she needed a backup plan. She decided that if the pressure got too high, she would just quit the committee and focus on her job. The phrase she used is a classic, "if all else fails." You use this when you are introducing your last resort, your plan B. It's a very calming phrase because it shows you aren't panicking, you are prepared. For example, imagine you are trying to cook a fancy dinner for your partner. You have a complicated recipe, but things burn, ingredients go missing. You might say to your partner, "I'm going to try to make this lasagna, but if all else fails, we'll just order pizza." It signals that you are flexible and that a disaster won't ruin your day. It's a great phrase to make you sound mature and composed in a crisis. Now, sometimes we are faced with decisions where plan B
isn't even a good option. Sometimes you have two options and honestly, both of them are terrible.
Lisa and Sam were discussing an office survey where they had to vote on new policies. The choices were things like longer work hours for extra vacation days. They didn't like either option. They had to pick the one that was slightly less terrible. The idiom for this is the lesser of two evils. This is something we use constantly in politics, business, and even daily struggles. Imagine it's freezing cold outside, but you need medicine. You have two choices: walk in the freezing rain to the pharmacy, or wait 4 hours for a delivery while you feel sick. Neither was fun, but maybe you decide walking is faster. You choose walking because it is the lesser of two evils. It implies resignation. It tells the listener, I'm not happy about this choice, but it's the best I can do in a bad situation. It helps you express frustration without complaining too much. Let's look at the fifth expression. This is my absolute favorite for storytelling. Sometimes you want to tell a story, but you don't want to give every single boring detail. Or perhaps the story involves something a little awkward or accidental, like a snowball effect. In our example, Sam ended up giving a presentation he wasn't supposed to give. He didn't plan it. The original speaker got sick, the manager looked at Sam offered to help, and before he knew it, he was on stage. Instead of listing every second of that interaction, he summed it up by saying, one thing just led to another. This is the perfect bridge in a story. It explains how a small event turned into a big outcome without needing a long explanation. It's also very useful if you want to be vague about the details. For example, if you ran into an old friend at the supermarket and ended up talking for 3 hours and missed an appointment, you can just say, we started chatting, one thing just led to another, and I lost track of time. It keeps your English sounding natural and fluent. Finally, we have the sixth idiom, which deals with embarrassment. Real deep embarrassment. Lisa mentioned she accidentally insulted a coworker named Julia by saying her presentation was better than expected. She meant it as a compliment, but it sounded surprised and rude. Julia stopped smiling. Lisa felt terrible.
When you do something silly like send an email to the wrong person, trip in front of a crowd, or say the wrong thing, and you know people will remember it for a long time, you say, I'll never live it down. This phrase is a mix of shame and humor. It acknowledges that you made a mistake and that you expect people to tease you about it. For example, if I accidentally called my boss mom in a meeting, I would definitely tell my friends later, oh my gosh, I'll never live it down. It shows you are humble enough to laugh at your own mistakes, even if they hurt a little bit. So, there you have it. 6 incredible idioms that take you from simple descriptions to complex emotional reactions. You could have fooled me for skepticism or surprise. There's no accounting for taste, for disagreeing with choices politely. If all else fails, for your backup plan. The lesser of two evils, for choosing between bad options. One thing just led to another, for fast-forwarding a story. I'll never live it down, for lasting embarrassment. Start using just one of these in your conversations this week and watch how much more natural your English sounds. If you found this helpful and want to keep polishing your English skills, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to make more content for you. This has been English Glow, helping you shine in every conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.